Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific Northwest, from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
Your first place Mariners, baby.
That's why you get leads in case you get a little stumble on the road like we just saw. But we're gonna break that down and talk a little bit about some funky lineups that have been rolling out lately and kind of what we would do if we were old Scott Service putting together that lineup and kind of where we see guys fitting in to best utilize their anemic offensive skills.
Yes.
But before we do that, why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If we say we're Oakland A's fans in, I don't know, let's call it the 90s. And
Okay, that's a little better.
if you were looking for a couple of guys that would be like Bash Brothers, the Bash Bros, you'd be looking for guys like us. If you're looking for a guy like me, it'd probably be pretty stout, ginger as all get out type of guy. Maybe a Mark McGuire type, if you will. Maybe you'd be looking for a guy like me, your boy Coach Red. You can find me on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notifications, leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy that was a pretty solid player and then went absolutely bonkers, because sometimes the thing you say, I say, man, you crazy, just like Jose Canseco himself. If you're looking for someone like that, you are looking for Cain.
Hey, find me over on Twitter, K2406, over on TikTok at K0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. False. Do it, freaking do it.
Mariners go 3-6 on the roadie. They lose each series, 1 win, 2 losses in each one of the stops. It was not
After
fun.
sweeping Texas. Want to put that out there because this was a terrible road trip. And my God, do the pitchers just stink on the road?
Well, the other thing that you looked at going into this series, the Guardians are going to be tough.
Yes.
You've got the Marlins, who were playing a little bit better against an average Cardinals team, walked them off 2 times in a row, playing a little bit better, but also at the time of that series, I think they had the 3rd or 4th worst record in Major League Baseball. You expect to kind of take care of business down there, especially with some of those balloon ERAs they were seeing out of the starting staff. And then you have a pesky Rays team that have always played the Mariners tough, but also with their starting rotation and bullpen not being what it traditionally has been, I expected at least a 500 road trip, and we didn't get there.
No,
we got a 333 road trip, which for all those keeping tracks at home, that puts the Mariners winning percentage at 55%. So not as good as it was at the time of the last recording, but still above Jerry's goal. So we're still tracking, folks.
Still tracking. All right, let's get into the week then. We start off Monday with a Mariners win 8-5 against the Guardians. And oh boy, did the Mariners chase Tristan McKenzie. They got him out of there by the 4th inning. He was done, and the bats were hot.
Hot to start, and then they, played hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. But
Luke Raley, cool stat from this game. Luke Raley hit a home run to his uncle that was in the stands.
Yes,
his uncle dropped it. He ended up getting the ball back. But guy from Ohio and hits a ball to his own uncle.
That is
that guy should have been a pick to click.
But yeah, the bats, you saw them be alive, and yes, they played hold on, but you saw good things out of Austin Voth again, out of the bullpen. He has really trajected upwards, in my opinion. The dude's been nails. Sauce gave up an earned run, but then Stanek came in, shut the door. I believe Thornton's was a weird run too.
Yeah.
And then
Stanek's
Munoz.
been pretty hot lately. And
Yeah.
the Mariners did put a I believe the Mariners had a couple of home run balls in that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see.
Luke
Oh,
Rayleigh
that's
for sure.
right. Luke Rayleigh. Uh JP. Also, it was and our favorite player,
Oh,
Demo.
Dylan Moore hit a ball so gone.
Oh, he crushed it.
And Cal Raleigh, if they didn't have the 19-foot wall and straightaway center, would have also had a home run.
Oh, JP actually would have had 2 home runs because he hit it in the same exact place Cal Raleigh did.
Yeah, the bats were hot, and you felt really good about the Mariners coming off the homestand that they did have.
Yep.
But this was a Bryce Miller start, and they had another similar start against the Royals on the road. Scored a lot of runs early, and then Bryce Miller was pitching well to start. And then I think when Bryce has too big of a lead, it just kind of slips away from him. I think he gets a little bit too comfortable out there,
Yes.
pitches with a little bit less of an edge, ends up getting chased, I think, in the fifth or sixth inning. And then
6th.
and then it was I think he had allowed a couple of guys on, hadn't recorded an out, and then it
Voth
was
came in, shut the door. Sauce went out there, then Stanek, then Thornton, then Munoz. So game 1, you had to shred through your bullpen, and that was kind of unfortunate. Let's get to game 2, and that was just not a great day. They lost 8-0. It only got 3 hits in this game. Wasn't very pleased to see that in Tanner Beebe had his second career high in strikeouts back-to-back weeks. So
that's crazy, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
the
But
Mariners just
every
love
every
setting
pitcher that
records.
goes against the Mariners just either says, I'm gonna shit the bed or I'm gonna be a Cy Young candidate.
Yeah.
I wonder what the common denominator is. The Mariners
Uh,
offense.
let's see. Brian Wu was pitching great, and then he just left one over the plate for Quan. And then that kind of got away, and I believe this is the no. No. No, it's not.
Pull up
Um
the score.
it
Yeah.
was 8-0.
Yeah, Wu did not look good in this game.
Yeah, he left after 4 innings.
Pitch count was high. They were
Yeah.
fouling a ton of pitches off against him.
And then Bauman came in, gave up 3 runs. Bauman has been a roller coaster of a reliever this year. Uh Bolton came in, gave up a run. And you know what? Bizardo, he's not bad. He's been looking all right.
He's not, no, he hasn't. He's not good, is the problem. When you say that he's not bad, no, he is bad because he's not good.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he struck out 3 people, I guess. I don't know.
congrats. But about every outing, even in mop up duty, because that's really the only time he gets to get on the hill is when the game's out of hand. And every once in a while, he'll have a 1, 2, 3 or have an unblemished
Yeah.
inning, but more often than not, he's giving up a bunch of hits. People are getting on base. You had it against Texas; they had a 7-1 lead, and they had to stir up the bullpen because he gave up 4 runs. Like he's not good. I think that once Santos gets back, it's easy to make him the odd man out, but you're gonna see other guys coming back, like Gabe Spire, should be back sooner than later. I hope having another lefty arm out there. You've got Logan Evans who's fast tracking, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move for a reliever if it's not the highest profile guy, but someone
Mm-mm.
that has good underlying numbers and they love his stuff and be able to get like a mid prospect for him. I think that they would swing that instead of going and getting a top tier guy, or unless Paul Sewald's price drops.
Yeah. But that's did not happen at all, and they lost. So not a very good game. Let's go to the next game. They lost again, 6-3. And oh boy, it was a roller coaster again because Demo led off the first with another nuke that went 430. And so you're sitting there feeling good. This was a day game,
You're
right?
up 2-0 in after the second batter.
Right. And then it went stale after that. And then there was just a bunch of shenanigans that happened in the first inning with Josh Naylor became Barry Bonds in this series, it felt like. And then Will Brennan tied it in the second. Ryan Bliss, the start of his insane run, ropes a double into left field. And we take the lead. Then it just falls apart from there. The Mariners don't score anymore. This is a bad Luis Castillo start. It's the show on the road. Brian Wu struggled. Bryce pitched all right until he didn't. Luis Castillo got 5 earned runs on him. Not fantastic. And he still threw 93 pitches. So it's not a good game.
No,
Then you go.
then you're going to the Marlins and you're coming off 2 walk-off wins, so they're playing a little bit hotter.
Yep.
But the Mariners put themselves in a position to win this game multiple times, even after having an extremely lackluster offensive performance.
Yeah.
But
And the Mariners did something very, very lost to the art of baseball these days. They hit a sac fly. Yeah, Mitch Garver, sac fly to center. And we scored. So lost art of baseball. That's pretty good in the first inning. You like that. Then again, Ryan Bliss, the phenom of the week, tripled. That ball was smoked. Then home runs started happening. And back-to-back home runs, I believe. And it was like, what, in the 6th?
you've got it up.
Or the 5th? The 5th. That's right. It was the 6th.
And this is
It
a
went
George
back to
Kirby
back.
start. He gives up back-to-back homers. He still gives you. Did he go 8 or did he
He
give you
went
7?
7 with 5 Ks.
And gives you 7 strong innings. Gets bit by the home run ball a little bit,
Yep.
but goes out of there with the no decision.
Yep. And then Ryan Stanek comes in, throws a gem, strikes out 2. Yeah. Then Mooney did the same. And
Mooney
then
got you out
Austin.
of some trouble to get you to extras. And
Yep.
then once you get into extras, the Mariners did not capitalize. And first pitch from Austin Both, who's been running pretty hot. First pitch, Dom Canzone in left field puts a one hopper, kind of short hops Cal. Ball beats him there. I think that if there was a little bit more of a hop on it, he's got to play. But it's one pitch, game's over. Third walk off in a row for the Marlins. But guess what? Next day, Walter came to play, and Walter didn't play. What was that? 9-0 victory.
9-0 Mariners. You're feeling great after this one. You are
Yeah,
feeling ecstatic.
Logan Gilbert, 8 innings, could have potentially went out there in the ninth. But here's the thing: Logan Gilbert has the most innings on the team, coming off an 8 inning start his previous outing. Yes, it would have been very cool for him to get a complete game shutting. But the problem is, for the Mariners, you're not hoping to pitch to September. You're hoping to pitch past that. So you're going
Yep.
to need to save some bullets in
Yeah.
the old arm there. Ryan Bliss hot again in this game.
I believe so. Ryan Bliss, I believe, went 3 for 4 in this game. And then you get the 4 for 5 out of Dom Canzone, which I believe he put a spicy meatball in the stands.
The spiciest of meatballs.
Oh, dude, he blasted it. Yeah, this is all Mariners. In the first inning, they go up
Luke
2-0.
Rayleigh triple in this game.
Yeah. No, maybe. No, I believe that was. in Tampa.
Might have been. But no, it's a good overall performance. But Logan Gilbert just made sure that this game wasn't even close from the
He
get
was
go.
and he was at 92 pitches coming out of the
So
game.
if this
So
was a closer game, probably would have seen him
efficient.
back out there.
Efficient is what he was. Okay, let's go to the finale. Mariners lose 6-4. So now you're coming off back-to-back series losses on the road. Not fantastic. The long ball is just kind of what happened in this game. There was a lot of home runs hit. One
And
second.
the Mariners, I thought overall, this whole game, they got behind early and they kept coming back little by little. And I just kind of felt off about the team the entire game, but at no point did I ever feel like they were completely out of it until the game finished.
Yeah, and just another
It was a
Bryce
stinker.
Miller start because the bullpen did the job. They did not allow another run, but the offense couldn't produce. I mean, Luke Raley went lefty lefty, I believe, in this game. And that was awesome to see. But yeah, Jesus Sanchez destroyed that ball. Nick Gordon, that he just
He
put it
just
right
left
over
a
the plate.
change up middle.
Yeah,
It was a 3-run dinger. That doesn't happen. If Bryce doesn't leave an early first inning, middle
yeah,
pitch, might be a different game altogether.
right. And the Mariners tried to fight back. I mean, Rayleigh homered in the fourth. Bliss grounded out to shortstop. Rayleigh scored. That was the triple, I believe. And
Fastest home to first on the year. Beat out Josh Boy Rojas and Ryan Bliss with fastest time home to third
yeah,
by a half a
so
second. And him coming around second, that dude looked like a moose just trying to get his legs underneath him.
dude, he runs hard. He runs hard.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into Tampa. The Mariners lose the series opener 4-1.
So Brian Wu exits this game with some hamstring
Yes.
tightness. He's got a runner on first. Taylor Saucedo comes in. I think the Mariners at this point, they have a 1-0 lead.
Yes.
Sauce tries to pick off, throws the ball away. Runner advances to third, and then on his first pitch, he spikes it, and runner scores on a pass ball. This is the first time that I've ever seen a runner score from first on one pitch and no hit recorded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of nuts, huh? And
Well,
it
and then
was
after that,
just
buckle down. You had good stuff. Thornton goes a little bit longer in this game, gives you good stuff. You get good stuff from
yes.
Munoz.
Yeah,
Wait, maybe not Munoz. Stanek came in and was electric in this.
no, okay. This is where I was irritated when the bases were loaded and Yandy Diaz gets that little flare. Ty France looks like he's trying to get cute with it, goes down to a knee like he's sliding. And that's just how it appeared watching it.
No,
And
he's playing
pulls
back.
his head.
Cabby's kind of got him shaded on the base
Yeah.
pass, and this ball's hit with a bunch of top spin at 100 miles an hour. Ball really rockets off there because it's like field turf there. You could see it takes a little bit different bounces than when you're playing on the real grass, right?
Yeah.
So you're seeing that thing took a little bit of a hop and ends up really biting the Mariners in the keister.
Yeah. And Cal started the game, hit a homer. That was great to see. Hadn't done it in a
Garver
while.
also hit a homer.
Carver did,
And
and
that ball was it was so cool because Randy Rosarena didn't even turn around.
no, that ball was rushed. And then the eighth inning, just terrible. Let's go to the next game. The Mariners lose back-to-back games. This one is 11-3. Who was our pitcher this game?
Luis
Oh,
Castillo.
Luis Castillo again.
Luis has been getting hit with a little bad luck ball, but this one was Bauman had come in the game before and was nails. Bauman came in this game and was not.
Yeah,
It's like that roller coaster ride. So I think Bolton also threw in this game, gave up some runs. It was a game that got away from you
he did
early.
not give up any runs. Bizzardo gave up 3, Bauman gave up 2, and Castillo gave up 4.
Yeah. So good things that you did see from this game. Another home run from Mitch Garver, back to back games with the dinger. You also had Ty France go yard and starting to put some better swings on the ball because earlier in that game, he lines one to right. That's Ty France special, right? His swing was starting to come back because it didn't look great coming off the injured list. And then he absolutely tanks one. You know, you're seeing the swing come back. You're seeing that picture in this game of what you saw at Ty France right before hitting the IL.
Yeah. And, Cody Bolton throwing a scoreless inning, striking out 2. Like to see it.
And then you
Other than
go
that,
into today's game, and it's time for Furious George to.
yeah, George Kirby threw a George Kirby game. There's just a running gag with this Mariners pitching staff is most of them give up at least 2 runs a game. At least.
George Kirby didn't today. He had
No,
one,
he did not.
and the one run he gave up was a ground ball that he snags off of the mound. Ty
Oh, and
France
Ty Francis.
is playing 4 hole, and he doesn't think that George is going to get there. Nobody's at first. George tries to make the play, slides into first, and Jose Caballero. Man, I loved when he was on this team, but I also hate him when he's on the race because how much I loved the frustration from him as part of the Mariners. I do not like playing against him. Ends up scoring from second on the play,
Yep.
and you have a 1 run lead, and the Mariners just aren't getting anything going. I believe you had JP that had a double earlier in this game, and when they pulled the starter, you were at a point where I think JP had just walked, so Josh Rojas comes up with 1 out, gets fielder's choice. Then Julio works a walk and is not happy about it. He was pissed. Usually Julio is a little bit excited to get a walk because he did have some good takes, but there were some balls that he fell off and he was not happy. And then Cal Raleigh decides that it's time to go, dumps like a truck. And all the guys that I know were like, what? He moved that butt
Yeah.
and he hit that dong.
He absolutely obliterated the baseball. He loves hitting in Tampa too. I guess he just loves crushing AL East teams.
He's a big fan.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, and then JP kind of put the cherry on top and had a 2-run RBI single or
Yeah,
2 RBI single.
you had runners on second and third. I think you had Garver get on, and then Canzone drew a walk. Garver laced a single up the middle. Canzone gets a walk. Demo bunts him over. Ryan Bliss strikes out. JP comes up with 2 outs, shoots one. It's a little bit awkward. Doesn't have a lot of pace out to the outfield, so it's perfect to allow Canzone to score without a throw. And then you felt pretty good. You know, Stanek comes out again in the eighth, pitch as well. Then Munoz comes out. I want to tell you about this. I would not be shocked if Munoz is heading to the IL.
Yeah.
During in this, he faced 3 batters. He had 2 walks, 1 hit by pitch, and the hit by pitch was with the full count. I think Munoz threw a grand total of 3 strikes. His first couple of fastballs were coming in at 95 and 96 miles an hour. He had no feel for the slider. Finally, in the Isak Paredes at bat, he did hit 98, 99, but he just didn't.
He's
Munoz
not
doesn't
right.
throw 95 on a
He's not
fastball.
right. He's not right.
He's
And
got to get some
that's
rest.
bad.
I think Logan Evans is fast tracking it right now. And the good news is, if you do lose Munoz to a little bit of time, what you're seeing out of Stanek right now is very encouraging, right? And
Yes.
Voth has pitched a lot better recently. You've got Thornton doing some big time things.
Oh,
Salcedo's been kind of hit a little bit right now, but you got
dude.
some people who can do it. So Trent Thornton comes in to save the day and gets a ground out on the first one, score a run. Now it's 5-2. And then he gets that double play ball, and Trent Thornton records his first career save today.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's this, I believe it's his number, like the number he wears on his jersey. And it's the amount of wins the Mariners have. I saw a stat about it earlier on Twitter.
That's not a stat, that's just an observation.
There was something that some I saw it earlier. But yeah, they won this game and it was great. You're coming back home. You needed to win this game, right? You needed to avoid getting swept. So it's a good win. And you win pick to click.
No, let's go over the pick to click. Who did you pick last week?
Julio Rodriguez.
Julio Rodriguez had 3 hits on the road trip, and my pick to click, Luke Rayleigh, had 2 home runs and a triple, plus other hits. So you're right, I did win pick to click. We do have a new rule for pick to click. Cain is no longer allowed to pick Julio because every time he does, he is a dumpster fire up there. So, but when I've picked him, great. When he's picked him, Maul, muy mal.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Should
All right,
I just give mine?
so it's going to be a short one. It's just going to be for over the weekend. We
Uh-huh.
were a little frustrated with Monday, and even though the things we had to say weren't going to be super nice and have been super nice, we were hoping that it would get better. And I just did not have the energy or mental capacity to talk about the Mariners
Yep.
after that one. So we do have a shortened pick to click 3-game series against the Twins. Oh, and that also puts me back in the lead on picks to click. I am
That's
now
true.
one ahead. So, Cain, who do you have for your pick to click for the Twin
All
series?
right. Hold on. Get my lucky dice ready. Give me Mitch Garver. Going ham against his former team and making a statement on the homestand of the opening series. So give me Mitch Garver. Coach Red, who you picking?
I think I'm going to lean towards who I believe is going to be the Mariners All-Star Game participant. I'm going with pitcher Logan Gilbert. I'm calling for another 8 innings and a
So
dub.
if he doesn't go 8 innings, do I automatically just get the win?
No, if he pitches really what if he pitches 7 2/3 and has 23 strikeouts?
Now that's setting the bar pretty high, all
Well,
right?
if he does that, he's still going to be the pick to click.
That's true. All
But
right.
um,
First pitcher
he's also
taken.
he's also my first pitcher, but I'm not gonna rest on that, right? Because it's not fair. Because if he has one good game, it's tough to tell if the position player also has some stuff. So I guess I'll also pick a position player. My position player that I choose is Julio Rodriguez because I'm reverse jinxing you. Because every time I pick Julio, he gets hot AF. So I'm gonna pick him. Granted, if Julio has very similar has a similar weekend to Mitch Garver, I will very well give you Mitch Garver, and we will exclude the 8 strong innings from Logan Gilbert.
Okay. All right.
All right, for the second half of this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about lineup construction. Um, after the Mariners had their slide in the first, after they won the first game, they had that 3-game slide in this road series. You talked about Dom Canzone last Saturday had a big game, 4 for 5, and then he gets bumped up to the 4 spot in the series
It's
finale.
not his spot. He's
And
not that guy.
we were talking about earlier too. You've got Ryan Bliss, who was pretty hot in the overall in that Miami series, and only gets an emergency start today because Luke Rayleigh got scratched from the lineup. So you've Scott, it's tough because when the offense isn't working like you anticipate it to work, he's been moving guys around quite a bit throughout the lineup. We're going to talk about each lineup spot and kind of give you some guys that make sense to be in that spot and why, and some guys that have been in that spot why they don't make sense.
Yeah.
So the leadoff spot, Kane, who are you feeling? What do you
I
want to see out of Scott in the leadoff spot?
I feel like there's only really two options here. Actually, there could be three.
I only
And
have two.
I want to throw it if he gets more run at some point, right? Ryan Bliss.
That's my
And
second guy.
oh, I JP, he's our leadoff guy, he's the captain, all that. My other guy is Josh Rojas. I think he is also a very good leadoff hitter on this team. He has proved it, right?
The reason I like JP in the leadoff spot is JP does see a lot of pitches, right?
He also sets the tone.
He does. And I think after today, he's riding a 6 or 7 game hit streak. So that's starting to pick up. The more and more he picks
Mhm.
up, having him on base is key. I like Ryan Bliss there because when Ryan Bliss is hot, he gets on base and he can snag bases, and he's very fast when the ball's in play. Same
Yes.
thing with JP. I like both those aspects. I don't love Rojas there. I know that he did it a little bit, especially against the Diamondbacks for it, due to necessity. But I don't really like Rojas in that spot
That's
going
fair.
forward because I think if he's having to hit there, you have bigger issues at play. He's cooled off quite a bit, but he's another guy that isn't going to go down on 3 pitches very often. He's going to see more pitches, and especially early in the game, you want to see what those starters are bringing to the table.
Mhm.
All right,
I agree.
two spot. This has been a wild, wild spot. Go ahead and give me the guys that you feel comfortable with and ultimately who you like there the most.
I mean, Josh Rojas is a good two hitter. He is a good two hitter, and Dylan Moore. I do like those two there. But Dylan Moore is also a weird factor because you got to place him where need be in the lineup too. And he could be your 9 hitter because he is fast. He could be your 7 hitter to kind of give you that like all aroundness to his bat. But I do think as a two spot with JP and his just base awareness, right? When the ball's hit too. JP is a master on the base path. And you have Demo right behind him. They're both chugging along. I like Demo there, in my opinion, the best, but Josh Rojas is my second.
I think that if you get a Ryan Bliss batting leadoff type of game, I would love JP in the 2 hole. I agree with
Yeah.
Rojas. Like I said before, I like that he can see a lot of pitches. But in my ideal world, if Dylan Moore is in the game, there's a higher chance that you might have Ryan Bliss in the game. So if Ryan Bliss is in the game, then I want Ryan Bliss batting leadoff and JP batting too. But I think it's got to be Rojas or the other guy for me. It almost has to be this guy. For me, I don't. You think I'm saying Julio? I know he's batted a lot in the
No.
two. I'm not saying it. It's Jorge Polanco.
I mean, that's fair. That
Polanco
is
has
fair.
to be your 2 hitter. He has to be.
I don't think he can be your 3. I
No,
just like he's not that kind of guy.
only other person that I would think about doing it, he hasn't profiled like that this year, is potentially Ty France. If he can get guys moving along, get your leadoff guy moving along the base path by spraying singles around, having guys at first and third is a fun place to be at, right? And
Right.
he's a guy that can facilitate that. I think that Rojas right now is the best guy, but ultimately I think it has to be Polanco.
I agree. I think so too. All
We
right,
get
number
into the
3.
meat and potato of the order, and I'm going to caveat before we start this. The Mariners need to go trade for an impact middle of the order bat because I'm sitting here with some of this stuff going, I don't know where to put this guy, and that's not good.
Yeah.
But when we get into the 3 spot, who are your candidates for this
I
spot?
mean, it's been Julio for a while. It has been Julio for a while. Uh, but as of right now, uh, there's Cal. It just because of the power prowess, right? And so I think Cal's a big candidate.
Pick me, pick me. I picked Luke Rayleigh. I think this is the perfect spot. I think this is
Yeah.
the perfect spot in the lineup for him because he does give you power. He has been getting on base. He
And he's
still
got
has good speed.
speed.
The reason why I think that ultimately this is where you want Julio to be. With Julio struggling a little bit, not getting that power, what I would like to do is get guys that have some of our best on base ability in front of Julio Rodriguez. Puts a little added pressure on the pitcher, right? We've seen this with Mariners pitchers too. It's tougher to dance around a prolific type hitter when the
Yes.
bases are when there's more traffic on the bases. Give me Luke Rayleigh in the spot, and I think it right now it would be the perfect spot for him because when we get some of these guys a little bit further down the road, they're just you look at some of their batting averages like that's really tough to have in the 4 spot for me.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
going the 4 spot, I pick Julio Rodriguez
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
or Luke Rayleigh or Cal Raleigh. Those
I
are
mean,
all my contenders for
Cal
me.
Raleigh is has been
I
before
don't want
hitter. It's just weird.
178 hitting Mitch Garver there right now. There's no way. He's
No,
batting a
and
buck 78.
I don't want Dom Canzone after going 4 for 5. I don't want the analytics.
It's not the analytics, it's the we're doing so bad at offense right now. He had a very hot day. Let's move him up, but we'll keep Ryan Bliss in the 9 hole. He's got 7 hits in his last 9 at bats, and he also threw a pepper to walk in there. So he's
Yeah,
7 for 8.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Or
Okay,
6 for 7. Sorry.
four. Let's
Math.
go
My
with
bad.
Julio. You want your best hitter, kind of hitting the four
I, I
spot.
want I
That's
want him higher up in the lineup. You've seen a shift where you're seeing some of your better hitters batting 2 and 3, right?
yeah,
Especially in that 2 hole, you're seeing it more and more and more. I think that Julio, ideally, as this season gets long, you get that big bopper. That big bopper is now at 4, and then your lineup gets that much longer, right?
yeah.
So, but I think for right now, I want Julio there, even with him struggling. He's still sitting there. He's on stuff. He's still locked in. You saw a little bit of frustration today, but I think get back home, get going a little bit, get a couple knocks in there, and you're going to start seeing, like I said, when you looked at these games, you had rain, gloom in Cleveland. Then you're playing 2 games in domes. Let the spring and summer air, let the outdoor stadiums get their fill with Julio, and he will take in that vitamin D, right, and he's going to turn it into the big D dingers.
All right.
All right, in the 5 spot,
I like Mitch Garver here.
I want Cal Raleigh here.
All right.
I'll say this. I do think that wherever you do this configuration of the lineup, I think that Cal Raleigh is 1 spot above Mitch Garver. I'm tired of seeing Mitch Garver bat 8. I don't care who else is in the game. Don't bat Mitch Garver 8.
No,
If you're DH, the guy you're paying big money to is batting there. You want him
in
around
better
the top of your lineup
positions.
because you have a
Yes.
better chance. The guys batting at the top of your lineup have traditionally, even this year, got on base more than the guys at the bottom of your lineup. If he's a guy that is going to be home run or nothing, and that's kind of what we've seen. Yes, he's peppered in some other things, right? But
Yes.
it's very predicated on the long ball. Go ahead and give me Cal Raleigh at 5, and go ahead and give me Mitch Garver at 6.
Okay.
I'm totally good with that.
Okay.
Right now in the 7 hole, I think this is as high as I want to put Canzone. I think that Canzone should either be batting 7 or 8. I think this is
Never 9.
when nope. And this is where when Mitch is playing, he's a guy that qualifies for 7 just because everyone wants to cast Mitch out. Mitch in the field has been great, but he still has that clutch ability, right? We've seen it.
Yes.
He does have professional at bats most nights. There are some stinkers, but we've seen it across the board. But Mitch will get you those extended at bats, and he will come up clutch for you. Dom
Yes.
Canzone is another guy where it would just be dreadful to see a game where you got Cal Raleigh, Rich Garver, Dom Canzone, who are very reliant on the home run ball and power right now, and all struck out at a fairly high clip. When I watched Dom Canzone go lefty lefty, it was atrocious. He tried to jump on 2 sliders praying for fastballs. Then he finally got a fastball that was a foot out of the zone
And
high,
he
and he
swung.
swung right through it. So this is kind of the area where you're looking at Ty France, just because if we haven't fit him in earlier, I think seven's the best spot for him. And then 7, 8, you're seeing that Ty France, Mitch Haniger, and Dom Canzone, I think is really. And if we didn't like Polanco earlier, Polanco's right here in that 7, 8 mix.
Yeah, I agree. Just because I mean, it's just weird, dude. I know he crushed.
Demo, when he's in, kind of going to be in this range. I'm not even going to talk about Robles
Yeah, he
in
doesn't play
regards to this.
much.
And then when you get to the 9 hole, I think Ryan Bliss, when he's in, is a good candidate. I think Demo, when he's in, is a good candidate. I think Rojas, if he's not batting in the 2 spot's another good candidate because it's a guy that sees pitches. All of them have pretty decent speed and can get that lineup rolled over back to the top.
Yeah, you kind of have. I think Scott just really needs to have a heart to heart with himself and stop throwing out these funky ass lineups.
He's trying to play the hot hand because the offense has been so poor. That's why I think that a big thing that needs to happen sooner than later, and I've had a few conversations with this, is the Mariners are believed to be making a trade for a big bat, an impact bat before the deadline. And right now, you've had some teams that have moved their way up and some teams that have moved their way down. So when you look at some of those names that are out there, getting a Jazz Chisholm to go bat in your 2 hole would be a very welcome addition. You throw in a Brent Rooker on this team that can bat 4 or 5 for you because he's going to match power with on base. He's going to strike out a bunch, but he's going to give you those 2 things. Vladdy walks in, is your 3 or 4 hitter day 1. Then you might
Yes.
think about moving Julio back up to 2, going Vladdy, Cal, Garver,
The
Raleigh,
offense
Raylan.
would look a lot different with a different bat on this team.
Yeah, so I think that, Luis Robert gets put in right in your 4 spot right away. So going and getting that type of player, I think, is going to help this offense even more. And it's not just going to be one person. You're going to see some things that you've seen it from JP. He was out for a month. He's starting to come back around. Ty
Yep.
France, yes, the roadie was not great, but you saw some pretty good things yesterday, right? Not as good today, but I was shocked the Mariners won this game today because usually day games that they're that it's a getaway day during the week, they have been atrocious. So for them
Yes.
to piece together this game, how awkwardly they did and still pulled out a victory, I will take it however it comes. Because when you look at this is a team that on these homestands, yeah, you throw in your Sunday afternoon game. Saturday might be a 4 o'clock start time Pacific Standard. But when they're playing those games at 6:40, 7:10, they're geared up for that. So you're basically going from that to they were playing it what 10:10 in the morning, 9:10, 9:10 in
Yeah.
the morning.
Yeah.
It throws you off a little bit. Get them back home a little bit, and I would like to see Ty France get home. They have a rest day, have a full travel
Yes.
day, start on Friday. You're gonna see some things. And I'm hoping they make that trade for the impact bat so that they join on this homestand this weekend.
Yeah. That would
The problem
be.
is you have teams like the White Sox that are going to sit there and say, I'm going to hold out longer. Hopefully, Luis Robert doesn't get injured, but we're going to hold out longer to drive up the price for this player. And that's the tough thing about trying to go get a guy right now. You're almost going to have to get into July before you start seeing some of those major pieces get put on the move, right? Because I think that going and getting Vladdy, if you're going to do it, I want to do it now. I'm going to make them an offer that I will give them an extremely strong offer and say, I don't think you're going to get anywhere close to this. We need to make this deal now. Why not get the ball started a little bit earlier?
Yeah. I mean, something's got to change. Something's got to revitalize this locker room. And something I think it needs a little shakeup. I really do.
Well, And the tough thing is, when we came into this year, you saw Julio emerging more as a leader. You know, the leadership qualities of Cal Raleigh after last year, of JP Crawford, and of Mitch Haniger. You're loving the energy you see night in, night out from Luke Rayleigh. You've got Garver, who's been known as a good clubhouse guy, and then him saying Polanco was the best clubhouse guy that he's ever played with. Polanco
Yeah.
hasn't got started, Garver hasn't got started, and then you have Mitch Haniger, who started hot, but now starting to regress a little bit. JP's coming around. Julio's roller coaster and up and down. I think that you need to get a couple of guys get hot at the same time, like we've talked about in the past. And I think that that momentum's going to build to the guys around him. You hope that it's Julio and throw in JP, because when those guys get rolling, then you look at the last homestand, the walk-off winner by Mitch Haniger, that a couple of days after Cal Raleigh hits a walk-off grand slam, it gets your juices pumping. I
Yeah.
think that that was right before they went into the Texas series, and they went and shoved against Texas,
Yeah.
right?
No, they just need to go alive, dude. That's what they need to do to win. They need to get this lead back.
The
Because
offense has been on life support. The bullpen's looking a little shaky. The starters
yeah,
have looked a little bit more up and down. It's good to get back home. The Mariners starters at home have been absolutely incredible. And the Mariners have one of the best home records in baseball. So get back home, get some things rolling again, and then take it on the road next time. It's fun. Like, just win baseball games. Just as
yeah,
fun. Just do that.
yeah. Just ask a Philadelphia fan how their season's going.
Yeah. You know where you could ask a Philadelphia fan and even interact with us? On social media. You can find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also, find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
You can find me over on Twitter at K2406, on TikTok at K0644. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.